Okay, good morning, and so welcome back. So we're going to do another exercise today, and here we go. All right, so we did example 14.1 on Tuesday, and technically this exercise is not on the syllabus, and so that's why I'm kind of making it extra credit. And so I'll have a few more extra credit opportunities, including this one. And so basically, like this will count as just another example, another exercise or assignment if you missed any. And so this, you might as well do it because there's only, from the top of my head, I think there's only 2 students who've done every single exercise, including the extra credit. And so doing the extra credit cannot hurt your grade; it can only help it. So it's just basically this is just another assignment that's not on the syllabus, and so I'm just going to make it extra credit. It's kind of an extension of example 14.1, and so we'll do this one today. And this same thing, just post it to the discussion forum, and it'll count as basically another assignment. Okay, so I know that there's been a lot of assignments, and there's some students that have missed a few. And so I'm trying to have as many extra credit opportunities as I can. And so I think I'm trying to have 4. And so this will be the second one. And I'll try to have 2 more before the end of the semester. And that way, that'll give you the opportunity to make up any missed assignments you haven't done. And again, if you've done all the assignments, you still might as well do the extra credit because just in case you miss something in the future, this will make up for that. So, yeah. All right, and then we'll do this one today, and then the midterm 2 is coming up, so we're going to do the review for the midterm next Tuesday, and then I believe I'll assign the midterm next Tuesday as well. Okay, so this will be the last exercise before the second midterm. All right, and then another thing on the WebEx recording. So there was an update to WebEx, and now the recordings are recorded in a different format. And so if you looked at the last video, I'm trying to figure out how to fix this, but. Okay, so I know that the video looks like this, and I'm trying to figure it out with tech support, and I thought they figured it out, but I'm not sure. So I'm trying something different today to try to see why it recorded like this. But the video is still there. It's just it's got this. I don't know what happened. So it might do that again today, given the update to WebEx. If it does, I'll try to figure it out. But you can still watch the video, but I don't know. It's not optimal because it looks like this. Okay, so we did example 14.1 Tuesday. So right after that, you'll see extra credit time series. All right, and this is today's exercise. And so go ahead and open up the 2 documents here, the time series extra credit document and the Excel file. All right, so here we go. So this is a modified example, and so you can apply some of the techniques we learned in the time series analysis on Tuesday to this one. Okay, so this is just, again, just think of this as another assignment. Just turn it in next Tuesday with example 14.1. So if you're here, you might as well do it. It's due next Tuesday. So this will count as, this will replace any 0 you have with a 1 for any missed assignments. And so even if, again, even if there's a few of you that have done every single assignment, I still recommend doing it just in case you happen to miss one in the future. It'll count for that. So it can't hurt you. And I know that a lot of people, or a lot of students, would like to get as many extra credit opportunities as possible. So this is one. So let's go ahead and do this, and we're going to do it in class right now. So yep. All right. So let's look at this data. Good. So we have some sales data. All right. So remember last time we had that like potato chip company with the sales, and we tried to predict the next 2 months. So same thing. We've got sales data for years 1 through 10. And we're gonna fit some curves, and we'll try some different ones this time, and try to see which one is the best predictor for years 11 and 12. So if you're familiar with Tuesday's exercise, this is the same kind of analysis, but we'll try some different types of curves to fit and see which one we can find is the best fit here. Okay, so we're gonna try 3 this time. We're gonna do a linear, we're going to do a logarithmic, like a natural log, and then we're going to do a polynomial. So even if the types of equations look a little different, the point is we're just trying to use different trendline options to see which one is the best fit. And so first, step 1 is let's just make a scatter plot, and let's make 2 copies of it. So we have 3 scatter plots, and then we'll do one with a linear, and one with the logarithmic, and the other one with the polynomial. So first, let's just go back to the spreadsheet and make a scatter plot. All right. So you can select all this data, A1 to B12, right, including the empty cells, because we're going to extend the forecast. And all right, A1 to B13, and then insert. And you want the scatter plot, which is this one. So scatter, and then just the regular scatter plot. That's the one you want, scatter plot. Okay, so let's format this a little bit, and then we'll make a couple copies of it. So let's add the labels for the axes so we know what they are. So this is the sales, and this is the year, right? Corresponds to here. So you can click on the chart and hit the plus sign for the chart elements. And you can choose axes titles. The title of this axis, the y-axis, is sales. And the title of this axis, the x-axis, is year. All right, and this one looks fine. You got different y-axis values. This one I'd like to format to look like this. So I wanted to say years 1 through 12 instead of what it says here. So we did this last time, but to correct here, click on the x-axis and right-click it. And then go ahead and choose Format Axes. Okay, so under the format axes box, you want to change the minimum to 1, the maximum to 12, and the units, the major units, to 1. So it should say 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 12 for each year. Okay, and then we want 2 more copies of this so we can do 3 different trend lines with the same scatter plot data. So to do that, just click on the chart, and you can copy it, Control C, and then just click on another cell to the right and click on Control V to paste it. Okay, and then let's paste it one more time. So click on another cell and just hit Control V again, and it should paste it again. All right, there we go. So we got 3 copies of the same scatter plot of sales with the sales on the y-axis and the year going 1 to 12 on the x-axis. So here's one copy. Here's this. It's not a question. All right, so we have a question of the formatting. So let me do this part again, because so to do the formatting, you got to click on the x-axis here, all right, the horizontal axis, and then right-click it, and then go to Format Axes. All right, and if you're able to get here, you want to change the minimum to 1, the maximum to 12, and under units, you want to change the major units to 1. So change those options, and then it should label it 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 12, just like you see on mine. Okay, so did that work? Is everyone able to get the chart with the correct labels and the copies there? Okay, everybody good so far? Yeah. Okay, so some students are still having problems with the formatting of the axes, so let me show you one more time. So you got to okay, you have to select the axes. See how it's selected the x-axis, and then you have to right-click it or whatever the right-click option is on a Mac. So you got to get the axes selected, and then you got to right-click it, and you got to get to the select data option. So see how it's right-clicked, and you got to get to format axes. So you try and whatever you got to do, you got to get to the format axes option for the x-axis, right? And then when you're here, Again, you want to change the minimum to 1, the maximum to 12, and then the major units to 1. So I think once you get here, it's easy. I think maybe it's just sometimes it's difficult to do the same thing on a Mac, but you got to get the x-axis and go to the format axes. Okay, there we go. Okay, all right. It seems like everyone has it now. Next step is let's just label the separate charts, and then we'll do trend line for each. Okay, so we are going to well, let's just start with the first one. So let's do step 1. Let's call the first chart linear. Okay, the first one's the linear, and we'll get to the other ones in a minute. But let's start with the first one. And let's go ahead and create a scatter plot of. We did that. Let's add a trend line. Let's choose the linear option. Let's forward 2 years in the forward box, and let's display the equation on the chart. So we've done this a few times, but let's do a linear with the equation, and we'll forward it 2 periods. All right, so let's just start with the linear one. Okay, so click on the linear chart that you labeled linear, and click on the plus sign for chart elements. And down where it says trend line, click on that arrow, and then click on more options. So chart elements, click on the arrow after trend line, and then click on more options. And then when you're here, you want to the linear selected, so you can leave that. You want to forward it 2 periods. All right, so put a 2 there, and then also there should be an option for display equation on chart. Click that. All right, so linear, forward 2 periods, and then display equation on chart. Okay, so there's your equation there. The display is a little difficult to read. So let's format that equation for the linear, if you got that. All right, so you got your linear trend line, the dotted line, and you got your equation. And you can also see that the line is extended 2 years, which is what we're trying to predict. So to format the trend line, click on the box and right-click it, and choose the option where it says Format Trend Line Label. Okay, then over here, just change the category to number. And you could have 0 decimals to make it a little easier to see. So category is number, 0 decimals, and make sure you got the comma separator. And then it should look like my display. It's kind of a big number, but you know. All right, so there's your equation. Okay, so we got the linear, we've done the linear part, step one. We've got the linear trend line and the linear equation, and then we formatted it just to have a normal display with no decimals. So did we get that? Okay. So if we got that, we can do the next one. Okay, step two is let's do a logarithmic trend line, so a natural log function. So let's do that. Let's choose the logarithmic option. And again, we'll forward the two periods, and then we'll display the equation on the chart. So the same exact process, except we're going to use the log form. Okay, so go to the second copy of the scatter plot you made. All right, so I think we need to, let me redo the first part again, hold on. So, all right, so let me revisit how to get the equation. So click on the linear, click on the what is it called? The scatter plot or the chart. All right, and then you got to get to chart elements. And so I'm not sure, there might not be like a plus sign, but there should be an option up here somewhere for chart elements. Okay, so you have to get to chart elements, and so when you're able to get the same way you got the labels, and so when you get the chart elements, it might be like a on a Mac, it might be a drop down option up here. Okay, so can you get the chart elements? I'm talking to Marili.
When I go and click it, it gets me to format chart area, not chart elements.
Okay, so so how do you, so who else is using a Mac? How do you get to chart elements? How do you get to this? Or how did you get to, were you able to do the axes titles?
So I'm able to do that through Mac. It allows me to, but I just can't get to chart elements when I click the actual data.
Oh, so Mason says chart design. So if you click on chart design. Yeah, so maybe that. If you click on is there a chart design thing? And then under chart design, there should be add chart element. Can you do that?
Okay, I found it. I did find add
Yeah.
chart elements under chart design.
Okay, so perfect. So click on chart design, and there's just one extra step. So click on chart design, and then under add chart elements, there should be the trend line,
Okay,
and then go to more trend line options. Yeah.
I'm there.
Okay, and then once you're here, all right, it's all the same. So it should just say, so you want to choose the linear, and in the forward box, you want to put a 2. So put a 2 in the forward box for forward 2 periods. And the very last thing is just click the box that says display equation on chart, and that should do it.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, there we go. All right, thank you, Mason, for Mac troubleshooting there. All right, and then I think you still need to format the trend line. So to do that, just click on the trend line box, the equation box, and right click it. And even with the Mac, that should take you to here. And you got to go to the format trend line label. And once you're here, if you're formatting the trend line, what we did was change its number with 0 decimals and the comma separator. So that'll just change the display format of the equation. Okay, so I think we're good on the first one. So now we're going to do 2 more, and then we're going to compare them. Okay, so step 2. All right, step 2 is to do the log trend line, and we'll do the same process, but we're going to choose the log option instead of the linear. So back to the spreadsheet. Okay, and let's call this second scatter plot, the copy you made, let's call this log. All right, I don't want to try to spell logarithmic because I can't even say it. So just call it log. And let's click on this one. All right, and so again, if you're if you're using a Windows, then the plus sign will take you to chart elements. If you're using a Mac now, chart design, and then add chart element. So get to the chart elements. Okay, so under the chart elements, you want to go to the trend line option and click on the arrow or click on more trend line options. Okay. And then we are going to do a logarithm, this one here, logarithmic. So click on that one, and then the rest of the options are the same. So you want to click on forward 2 periods. And display equation on chart. Okay. So the only difference is we're choosing this one, the log. But again, you want to forward 2 periods. And you want to display the equation on the chart, and you should see some natural log function on the chart here. Okay, so let's format this equation if you got that. And so again, just click on the click on the equation box and right click it. Okay, and format trend line label. Okay, and same options, just change it to number with 0 decimals and with the comma sign box. So number, no decimals. We don't need the decimals. It's a big enough number. Okay, so you should get that big number there. So the natural log equation is this constant minus this number and then times the natural log of x. Okay, so see how the natural log function is kind of it's nonlinear. It's got this like curved format, so that might be a better option. Okay, so we got okay. So did we get the natural log trend line with the equation there? Okay, so if we got that, we got one more to do, and then we're going to calculate them and compare them. Okay, so the third one we're going to do is a polynomial, and so this is like an x squared, right? An x and an x squared, and so let's do the same thing, but we'll choose the polynomial, and the default is order 2. All right, so let's go to the third equation. I mean the third scatter plot, and and do a trend line for the polynomial option. Okay, so the third copy of the chart, call this polynomial. All right, and then click on the plus sign or get to the chart elements, and let's get to the same place and choose the polynomial option. So plus sign from Windows. All right, and then where you see trend line again, click on the arrow and then get to more options. All right, so here you should see the polynomial option. Click on that. Okay, so just leave it as the order 2, the default. We don't need to get an x cubed. All right, so again, format 2 periods and then display equation on chart. Okay, so only thing that's different is choose polynomial, and again, don't forget to forward 2 periods and display the equation on the chart. All right, so there's our big equation. Let's format that again so it's easier to see. So click on the trend line equation for the polynomial, right click it, format trend line label, and same thing. Okay, number with no decimals, and then make sure you got the comma, so it's a little bit easier to see. So number 0 decimals. All right, so this one has a constant, an x, and an x squared, and this is because when x gets bigger, right, the relationship changes. So this is saying that when x is smaller, this goes down, and then when x starts getting bigger, it kind of levels out. So that explains this, like how the slope gets more flatter over time by doing this, adding the x squared. So the polynomial is just adding a second degree of x. So you got the x and the x squared. Okay. So everyone good so far? We got the three trend lines and the three equations for the linear, the log, and the polynomial. Yeah. All right, so the next step is to manually calculate the first prediction for each, and then we can apply the same formula down, but we need to set up a header for predictions, and then a subheader for each type, the linear, the log, and the polynomial. And then let's enter the equation from the trend line, capturing the x variables, all right? Just like we got the equation from the chart, and then we'll apply the formula down and get the predictions for each type for each year on the spreadsheet. So this is the bulk of the exercise here, but let's set it up. Okay. What are we doing here? Okay, so I want to move the data down one cell, just so we can line up the years correctly. So I think we did this on Tuesday, but I just want to bump down. All right, let's do this. Click on the one there and just insert a row by just under Home tab, insert. Okay, so you moved it down and you have a separate or a blank row up here. So again, just click on the one, so it selects the one row, and click on the insert button, and that should add a row. All right. Okay, so this now is in A2 and in B2. Okay, and let's call this the section with the actual data. Let's call this historical data. All right, and you can make that bold or hit Control B to make that a bold header. Then over here, let's do what we're doing here and make the predictions area. All right, so in C1, let's call this predictions.
Excuse me, Professor, how did you move it?
Oh yeah. So let's. Okay. So we're here, and then we're just adding a row. So if you click on the whole row, like click on the one, see how it selects everything, and then Home tab, and then just hit the Insert button here, and it should do that. That work?
No, it show like it.
It didn't add the row.
It didn't. The selection isn't. Will it?
Okay, well, you can also, you can also do this. Back. All right, so if you've got this, just just cut and paste it down. So just another option to do the same thing is select A1 to B13 like that, and then cut it, Control X, and then just click on A2 and hit Control V to paste it.
Okay, that's work. Thank
Yeah,
you,
so,
Lan.
all right, so that does the same thing. Yep. Okay, and then we called this historical data. So just give that the title there in A1. Okay, and over here in C1, we were about to call this prediction. So let's call this section predictions. And we're going to have to do a separate prediction for the linear and the log and the polynomial. So in C2, let's call this linear. Okay, and then in D2, let's call this log. And then in E2, let's call this polynomial. All right, there we go. So we'll get the linear predictions here for year 1 to 12, the logs here, and then the polynomials here. All right. Okay, so we're going to type in the equations we got, including the x value, which is year 1. So x is time. Okay, so starting in C3, let's type in this equation that we see. So I tried to make it so we can see it. So equals, this is in C3, equals 102 All right, so there's the equation, and this is the exact equation from here, and x, the first x is just year 1, so it should say equals 102, 388, 272, minus, in the parentheses, 126, 684 times A3. All right, so we're exactly typing in this equation that we got from the linear trendline equation, and you got to type in the x, and the first x is A3. So there's your equation. All right, and well, so we can make sure that we got the same answer. Let's go ahead and format this area to be currency like the sales. So after you do that, if you want to select this whole area, C3, C3 to E14, all right, and just format it to be currency. So it looks like the historical sales data, we can compare it. So home tab, format, and then format cells. Okay, and you can just change it to currency with 0 decimals. And hit OK. There we go. So we should have this number, this big number, for C3. So let's do, is that what we got there for C3? Yeah, no decimals, correct. Okay, do we have a question? Oh, so to format it, okay, let's do that. Yeah, so to format it to $signs, just select the range you would like to format to currency, which is, so select C3 to E14. And then on the Home tab, even on a Mac, there should be this Format drop-down menu and Format Cells. And once you get to the Format Cells box, just change the category to currency. And you can just you can change the decimals to 0 and make sure it has the $sign there for symbol. And then hit OK. All right, and so everyone has checked that their value here is 96,261,588, yeah? Okay, so we've got the linear equation, and then the good news is we can just apply it down. So you can just, if you got that equation, you can grab the bottom right corner of C3 and drag it down all the way to year 12 like this. Okay, so it's the same equation, but the A's are changing to reference the year. So this last one should be for A14 for year 12. All right, and so, yeah, we got all those there for the linears, okay? All right, so those are the linear predictions, which means that those are all the for each year. That's the point on the trend line that would give you the linear equation. So for year 1, it's this value. For year 2, it's that whatever value is on the line, the exact linear line. That's the value that you get for the linear prediction. Now let's get the equation and the prediction for the log. So we got to type in that equation. Let me see if I can bring it more visible. There. All right, so in D3, let's manually type in the equation for the log. All right, so we're typing in this equation right there. So in D3, it's equals. All right, so using the natural log function, that is our equation. It is equals 106, 409, 376 minus, in parentheses, 24. Oh, I missed something. 97143. All right, let's do that again. So in D3 equals 106, 409, 376 minus, in parentheses, 24, 971, 424 times the natural log function. And then inside the brackets there, just type in A3 for the first x. And then I think you need another decimal or another closed parentheses. So there's your equation. All right. So that's the value I think we should get. 106, 409, 376. Is that what we got for the first year of the log? All right. So if you got that, you can apply that formula for the log for the rest of the year. So grab the bottom right corner of D1 and drag it down like this. Okay, and we got one more to do, but you should get those values there for the log. All right, so now the last one we need to calculate is the polynomial. So let me see if I can see that equation here. All right. Okay, so I'm just trying to make it so I can see the equation that I'm typing in. It's a big equation. So in E3, you want to type in this big equation that you got from the polynomial, which is this. I made it red so I could see it. Okay, that one there. So let's type in this big polynomial equation, including the correct x values, which are A1, or sorry, A3. Right? Yeah, A3. All right. So in E3, here's the equation, equals. All right, so let's see. I think that's it. Again, I'm typing in the equation from the linear trend line that we got displayed there. So it's equals 108, 775, 604 minus, in parentheses, 9, 320, 350 times A3, that's X. And then plus, the final argument in parentheses is 290, 333 times A3 raised to the 2, and then another parentheses. Okay, so it's the same exact equation you can see there in red in the polynomial box. All right, so I'll leave that up there for a second. Yep. All right, and let's hit enter and see what we get. We get that. All right, so we should get, I think, 99,745,587. Yeah. Okay, and then you know what's coming here? You want to, if you got that equation nicely, you can grab the bottom right corner of E3 and drag it down for the rest of the years like this. Okay, so we've got the predictions for the linear for all the years, the prediction for the log for all the years, and then the prediction for the polynomial for all the years. And so if we got that, the next step is to compare which one captured the historical data the best, and then we'll use that best one for our predictions for years 11 and 12. Okay, so everybody good with all the predictions here? Okay, so step 5 is to calculate the absolute percentage errors for each prediction versus actual. So let's create a header for absolute percentage errors. Let's create subheaders for each type, linear, log, and polynomial. And then let's just calculate the AP for each year. Okay, so that's step 5. All right, so let's make a title here in F1. Let's call this absolute percentage errors. All right, and we're gonna need linear, log, and polynomial in F1, F2, G2, and H2. Let's call this one linear. Show the log. Yeah. D. Okay, great. All right, so under the absolute percentage errors, we need to make a column for linear and for log and for polynomial. So let's make the same titles for here. All right, and we are going to calculate the first absolute percentage error for the linear versus the actual. So in F3, or actually, we want this area to be a percentage. So let's do that beforehand. And I'll select one more below because we're going to do the averages. So if you want to select F3 to H15, right, just the blank cells, and then format those to be percentages. And for the Home tab, you should see this option up here. Just change the general format to percentage. Okay, so then when we do these calculations, they should come out in percentage. So let's do the first one. In F3, the equation is equals. ABS, the absolute value, and then in the parentheses, you got another parenthesis. And the equation is actual minus prediction. So historical minus prediction divided by historical. So it's B Oh, I don't know what that. All right, there it is. So equals ABS, parenthesis B3 minus C3, close the parentheses, then divided by B3. So it's actual sales minus predicted sales divided by actual sales for the linear. So B3 minus C3 over B3. Okay, so we should get 3.74%. All right, and then if you got that, you can grab the bottom right corner and apply the same formula for the linear like this. Oh, not those two. All right, for up to years 10, because you can't have an error for if there's no actual data. Right, so we should have those values there in that range, F3 to F12. Okay, and let's do the same APE calculation for the log. In G3, it's equals. Okay, equals ABS B3 minus D3 divided by B3. So again, it's actual minus prediction divided by actual and this is comparing it to the log. So ABS B3 minus D3 divided by B3. Okay, that one gives us 6.41%, and you can grab the bottom right corner of G3 and drag it down like this. All right, and let's do the final calculations for the APEs for the polynomial comparison. So in H3 equals, all right, so equals ABS of B3 minus E3 this time divided by B3. So again, it's actual minus prediction over actual. So absolute value, ABS, B3 minus E3 divided by B3. All right, and for that one, you can, again, grab the bottom right corner and drag it down for the polynomial APs. It looks like that one's going to be the best, just by looking at the percentages, huh? Okay, so everyone got these here? All right, final step is to calculate the MAPE, the average, and see which one was the better. It clearly looks like the polynomial, but let's complete the analysis. So step 6, let's get the MAPE. And so let's create a section for MAPE, and let's calculate the MAPE, that's a typo. All right, just using the average function. So let's get the average of each of the ranges of APEs and then compare them, and then choose our best prediction. Okay, so we can do this maybe here in F15. All right, so just get the average of the linear. So in F15 equals average of F3 to F12. So the average of all the linear APs, and then enter. And then you can just grab the bottom right corner of F15 and drag it across to G15 and E15, or G15 and H15. Okay, so that is the average of the linears. That is the average of the logs. And that is the average of the polynomials, which should have given you by far the lowest error. All right, so I'll just make a little note that these are the MAPEs. So I'll just put a little and then what we're doing here is just comparing to see which one is the lowest, and clearly this one was about 3% off. This one was about 5% off, and this one was very close, less than about 0.24% off. So the lowest MAPE would be, comparing the three, the polynomial. All right, it's always good just to look at the trend line to see if that's probably the best one. So they all look pretty good, but all right, so there's the linear, there's the log. Yeah, and clearly the polynomial is almost like spot on. So that would be our best trend line comparing the three.
Excuse me, Professor.
Yeah, yep.
My charts are changed. I don't know why, but looks different with you.
Okay, well I can, maybe the data got shifted or something, but we're almost done, so I can look at yours if you post it. Yeah, so
Okay, I will post it.
yeah, post it and I'll take a look, but let's finish up. And so did everybody get the MAPEs here? And so if you did, you probably got that this one was the lowest, which would mean that our predictions for years 11 and 12 would be from that polynomial, which would be these values. Okay, so we did three different trend lines for this historical data. We compared them. We found that we should have found that the polynomial has the lowest, it captured the data the best. It had the lowest MAPE, which means that we would use that prediction for the next 2 years. So these would be extending the polynomial line 2 more years, which are just like those values are. Okay, so it'd be that value there and that value there, right? Okay, so we're about done with this one. You can go ahead and save this. Everybody good here on this one? All right, so if you got all this, you can save it and all right, so it looks like someone already posted it, but that completed spreadsheet, we're done with that. So if you're done with that, or whenever you're done with that, just post that here to the extra credit time series, and that's due by next Tuesday. Okay. All right, and so this is the one.
Fine.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna, if anyone wants me to look at their spreadsheet to fix for errors, you can post it. I'll look at this one. If not, if you're done, you can just post it, and that's it for today. So everyone, have a good weekend. I'll see you on Tuesday, and thank you for joining here. Thank you. Yeah, let's see. It looks like you just have Yeah, the tread line looks different, huh? So let's. Okay, so I think I fixed it. I think you just had a different, like you had a different area of data selected or something. So I just, if you want to do what I want to fix it, just go to All right, so this is the one you had, right? And so to fix it, you can click on the chart. I guess you'll have to do this 3 times, but right-click the chart. Just click on it and right-click it and see where it says Select Data. Choose that, and you've got the data selection a little bit off. So you need to, maybe this is because you moved the, I don't know why I didn't go with it, but actually, let's just do this. No, let's not do that. Well, okay, so click on the chart and right-click it and then select data. And then where it says chart data range, hit this button and just choose this part, A2 to B14, and hit this button and hit OK. Yeah, and that should fix it. So if you reselect the range for each of them, it should fix it. And then for this one, same thing. Right-click it, select data, choose this, and then choose that part, A2 to B14.
Oh, wait. Eight, two, before.
Okay, did that work?
I'm changing it right now.
Okay.
Two, may I see the third one?
Yeah. So I haven't, yeah, so did you get the first two?
Yeah, the same. I got
Okay,
the same number.
Yeah, so the third one, we'll do the same thing. Just select the chart and then right-click it and go to select data. All right, and then up here in the chart data range, you just need to hit this button to fix it. And you want to choose A2 to B14, and then just hit this again and hit OK, and that should fix that one too.
Oh, thank you. Got you.
Yeah, so I think what happened is when you moved it, cut and pasted it, for some reason it didn't, it didn't move along with the selection. So you just had to, yeah. So your chart was this instead of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it should, yeah, so we fixed it?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you a lot.
Okay, you're welcome.
Have a great weekend. Bye,
Yeah,
Professor.
you too.